So, hello and welcome back to Vidyarthee Education. So, today's topic is what is inflation? So, before you start reading the books and all, just watch this video for a basic understanding of what inflation is, and then you can grab the concepts in the books. Okay, so let's begin. First, let me tell you a story. Okay, so let's say 5 years ago, okay, 5 years ago, rupees 100 could buy a decent amount of groceries. Okay, but today, that is 2026, 100 rupees, it doesn't feel that much heavier. It could buy something huge or some huge amount of things. It feels much lighter. Yes or no? Okay. So a plate of biryani, let's say. Okay. Biryani that costed around, I'm saying about 5 years ago, around 120, let's say. Okay. Now it is over 200. Okay. Now house rents have increased, movie tickets have increased, and then even a cup of tea, which is more expensive than before. So here's a question: is everything becoming expensive, or is our money becoming less valuable? What do you think? So the answer lies in one of the most important concept in economics, that is inflation. Okay, and once you understand inflation, you'll also understand why RBI changes interest rates, why governments worry about the food prices, why your salary increase sometimes doesn't actually make you richer. So, what exactly is inflation? Okay, let's keep it simple. Inflation simply means general price rise over time. Okay, let's take another example. Let's say in 2020, in the year 2020, the price of milk, let's say it was 40 rupees. Okay, in 2023 it rose to 50, and now in 2026 it's 60. So if the price of just one item increases, that is not necessarily inflation. Okay, but if the prices of milk, vegetables, rent, transport, and many other goods rise together, we call it inflation. So keep it in mind. If the price of just one item increases, that is not inflation. It is a group of items that we use in our daily lives. If the price of those increases, then we can say it is inflation. Now the core idea. Inflation is about purchasing power. So let me ask you a question. Which is more valuable, you would say? Okay. Rupees 100 in 2010 or rupees 100 in 2026? Which is more valuable? Everyone knows the answer. Okay. So the note is the same, the number is the same, but what it can buy has changed. So that is known as purchasing power. So the purchasing power of this 100 rupees note changes over time. Okay. So purchasing power means how much goods, okay, how much goods and services your money can buy. Okay, that is known as the purchasing power. Let's take another simple example. Earlier, this 100 rupees could give us, let's say, 10 items, but today it buys only 7. So inflation reduces the purchasing power. So inflation decreases the purchasing power. Got it? This is the single most important takeaway. Okay, remember this. Inflation will always reduce your purchasing power. Now, why does inflation happen? First reason, it is demand pull. Let's take another example. Imagine there are only 10 concert tickets. You go to concerts, so concert tickets 10. But there are 100 people who are willing to buy. Okay, now what happens? Prices rise, of course, because these 100 people, let's say this, the price of this ticket is, let's say, 10 rupees. Okay, now 100 people are willing to buy these concert tickets, and they have 10 rupees. So if everybody has that 10 rupees, who is going to buy those? Who will get the chance to buy those tickets? Okay, now the price will rise to, let's say, 12 rupees. Now, let's say 30 people reduced. They do not have this 12 rupees. This increase is known as inflation. This will go on increasing until and unless there are 10 people who can buy these 10 concert tickets. Okay, so what happens in exactly? The prices rise, same principle, too much demand, too few goods. So this is known as demand pull inflation. If there's a demand that increases the price, increases the inflation rate, that is known as demand pull inflation. Now let's talk about the other one, that is cost pull inflation. What is this? Let's take another example. Suppose diesel prices increase. Diesel prices increase. Transportation becomes expensive. Yes or no? Transportation becomes expensive. So vegetables that we eat, these also become expensive. Why? Because of the transportation cost. The transportation cost increases. So vegetable prices also increase. Now shopkeepers will raise the prices. Now this is known as cost pull inflation. There's no increase in the demand. Okay, we are eating that amount of vegetables. Let's say we are eating 2 kgs of tomatoes. Okay, 2 kgs of potatoes, let's say. Okay, we are not exactly increasing our demand. We are not taking it to 10 kgs. So it is not the demand pull. It is due to the increase in the diesel prices. The cost has increased in every level. The transportation, then the vegetables, then the shopkeeper for getting its like the profit into increase its profit margin. He also increases the price. Got it? So this is cost pull inflation. Simple, practical. Now let's talk about excess money supply. Now what does it do? Now imagine everyone in your colony suddenly receives 10 lakh rupees. Okay. Now will the prices remain the same? What I mean to ask you is, you got out of nowhere, you got 10 lakh rupees. You will like to spend it on things. Okay. Now, will the prices remain the same? As we talked about the demand pull inflation, where the concert ticket prices rose for those 10 people. So these will also rise. Okay. So understand this. More money, your purchasing power will increase. Yes or no? You will chase the same goods. Okay. The prices of the goods will rise. To what? To cater the needs. Okay. So more money, purchasing power increases. For the same goods, the price will increase. So now let's talk about is inflation always bad? Is inflation always bad? So this is where many students get surprised. Okay. A little inflation is actually normal. Okay, we can afford it. Let's take another example. If prices never increased, okay, it stayed stagnant, businesses might stop investing, wages may stagnate, economic activity could slow down. Why? Because economies generally prefer low and stable inflation. Remember this, low and stable inflation. Not high rates or hyperinflation or anything like that. Low and stable inflation. Not zero inflation, of course. Not zero inflation, but low and stable. Now, if the prices won't rise, I'm going to invest in XYZ product. Okay. If the price, let's say I invested rupees 10 over it. If the demand and the price will not increase, now how would I generate profit from it? I've bought something for 10 rupees. Am I going to sell it for 10 rupees with no profit and low loss? Of course not. I would always try to sell the product at a higher price that I have bought. So this is why businesses might stop investing, and wages also will stay stagnant because the prices are not increasing. You are pretty much surviving with your salaries and all, wages and all. Why is there a need to increase your salaries and wages? So it won't increase. Okay. So in this way, this economic activity will slow down. Who controls this inflation? Anyone? Who controls this inflation? Now let's introduce RBI. Now think of RBI as a referee of the economy. Okay. When inflation becomes too high, okay, when inflation becomes too high, RBI, what does it do? It raises the interest rates. Okay. Now what does this do? The loans become costlier. Okay. Now spending reduces. Inflation cools down. Let's see. Let's see, you got, I'll tell you two scenarios. Scenario one, the interest rate is 10%, let's say. Okay. You took a 1 lakh rupees loan. Now you are taking 1 lakh of loan. Let's say 10% simple interest you are paying, let's say just 1.1 lakh. Okay. Now you will spend this 1 lakh easily, no matter what. Okay. Now in scenario two, you thought this 1 lakh would be enough for me. Okay. And I can pay this 1.1 lakh. Now the interest rate rose to, let's say, 12%. Okay. Now that 1 lakh will now cost you 1.2 lakhs. Understood? So you're not able to repay this. Let's say you do not have that capacity to pay an extra 10k as interest. So you won't take 1 lakh. You take, let's say, you take 90,000 of loan. Okay. Now if you're taking 90,000, your spending will decrease to adjust. Yes or no? Your spending will decrease. Then your demands will come down. And when demand comes down, the inflation cools down or stays stable, cools down. Got it? Understood the simple concept? So now whenever you hear terms like CPI, WPI, repo rate, monetary policy, okay, RBI, interest rates, these are all connected to inflation. We'll talk about all these terms in the upcoming videos. So what we have learned in this video, inflation is not just about rising prices. It is about the declining purchasing power of money. Okay. Now it affects your savings, your salary, businesses, governments, and the entire economy. And that is why inflation remains one of the most closely watched economic indicators in the world. In the next video, we'll answer another important question. How does RBI actually control inflation? I hope the video was clear enough to make you understand this topic. We'll meet you in the next one. Till then, keep learning and stay curious.